This is your captain speaking, and you've just arrived at your destination, 78 Ways Studio.
Welcome everybody to this very special episode of Man on the Run Meals. Today's guest is professional wrestling superstar Stevie Richards, who is also the founder of Stevie Richards Fitness. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like I said before we started recording, I'm sorry it took this long to get together, but I think these uncertain and crazy times have us all kind of, all over the place.
Absolutely. So your career in professional wrestling spans close to 30 years. And during that time, I'm sure there has been a lot of wear and tear on your body and anybody in any type of contact sports towards the end of their career. And as they get older, any type of impact like that on their body may leave long-term health consequences. As you're sitting here right now, I can clearly see you're healthy, you're fit. How were you able to mitigate the negative impacts of that long of a career in wrestling to where you're right now with your health?
Well, I think two more words to attach to that is blessed and grateful, because those are two things that I definitely know and can attribute to that. The one being, I do feel like there are so many tragedies in wrestling, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, substance abuse, you name it. There's a famous thing from that era in wrestling where there was like 65 wrestlers in I guess a 2 or 3 year span died before 40. I mean, terrible, terrible stuff. I got into the business and really my whole goal was to make money, more importantly, save money, and try to be as healthy as possible. Now that I didn't have that attitude in the beginning, because you're so caught up with working, you don't know how to address injuries because you're not mature enough. So dare I say that if I was wrestling full time today, I could probably mitigate all that stuff a lot better, because I have a different outlook on fitness, nutrition, health, wellness, recovery, rehab, and having that attitude, and really never being a very heavy lifter. So my impact from wrestling never really translated into the gym, where I was putting even more pressure on my joints than I would in wrestling. And I wasn't really, even though I did have, in my opinion, a lot of really solid matches, a lot of matches that were hopefully memorable, I was more known for the entertainment aspect, the fact that I could talk and act in a way, pretty much saved my body as well.
Okay. At the end of the day, you still had a slew of surgeries, if I'm correct, that you had to overcome. And like you said, learning that fitness later on in your career has been very helpful as well. And you mentioned the low impact training, and I want to move on to what you do now with your fitness regimens and the resistance bands. Can you speak a little bit to that? And when did you start incorporating that into your workouts?
Well, yeah, you talked about my injuries. I didn't come out of the wrestling business unscathed. I still have my little bumps and bruises, and some days it's a little harder to get out of bed in the morning than others. But, I know I'm heading to a workout, so that makes it a little easier rather than sitting down behind a desk. Stevie Richards Fitness and the resistance band programs were born before I even realized it. They came out. You hear the term in anything that's been created and made into a business, that it came out of necessity. Mine was that I always used to work out with bands. I had tons of injuries, tons of times where gyms were inaccessible. I'm an early riser, so the 24-hour gym, this is how old I am. I'm old enough to remember when there wasn't 24-hour gyms. So gyms opened at 5 or 6 a.m., and I had 5 or 6 a.m. flights being an early riser. So bands were the only thing. Bands, body weight, yoga, hit cardio with your body weights, that kind of stuff I was doing since, God, I would have to say even hardcore championship days, but really more so the new ECW and WWE. From that time on, bands were either a finisher. I would do the standard barbell main exercise, some dumbbell work, maybe cables, and in my band workout, or the band finish, was the hardest part of the workout, would be just burnout sets with the bands. And I felt those more than any of the other modalities that I did throughout the workout. So that's kind of how, before it was officially born in October 2016, I already had the foundation laid.
Excellent, excellent. With the band resistance program, and using bands generally speaking, this is not the type of exercise equipment where you're just banging out sets. There is an aspect to control. And you mentioned in your exercise videos isometrics. How do you combine the concept and the process of isometrics with those resistance bands to get that ideal results?
Well, I wouldn't even rank. It's all got to be 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D type thing. They're just as important to the art. The number one thing for me, especially with injuries, is all of the impact is off of my joints. If I'm using flexion, squeezing my muscles, isometrics, whatever you want to call it, throughout the entire movement. The other thing with isometrics is most people with dumbbells or barbells, even cable movements, the eccentric movement, which usually is absent from everybody's workout because they're, like you said, you're banging out a curl, but you're not doing the eccentric, the negative. Yeah. But if you're using isometrics and you're squeezing the entire time, you shorten the range a little bit, but obviously, you don't hit that elbow, you don't hit that knee, you get the muscle pre-exhausted in a very efficient way. And obviously that's the 1B of it. You get better results because you're actually using the muscle more than there's no momentum more. That's the key of it. People don't understand, and that's another thing about getting older. You want to, when you're in your 20s or even 30s, maybe sometimes early 40s, want to bang out a bunch of sets, get that number. But then you realize if you just slow down at least to a 2-second squeeze, a 2-second squeeze, 2-second hold, 2-second negative, it's like, man, the 3 sets of 12 mindset just goes out the window. I don't know if I can get 3 sets of this.
Got you. So it's a complete change in mentality on how you attack a workout versus the old school way of doing those sets as people were used to. And
I wouldn't even say, oh God, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I wouldn't even say it's attacking the workout because once again, and I'm one that has to do it more than anybody. I watch too many Rocky movies too many times. So that training of getting ready for the fight and trying to do the impossible workout every day is not the smart way to go. I treat everything when I go into that home gym or I work out outside or wherever I go as physical therapy. I need to heal the injuries. I need to keep the injuries away, prehab and rehab type things. Once I start mentally thinking that way, I start being a lot smarter with my workouts.
That makes sense. So you're working with your body versus that attack mode that I mentioned earlier. Absolutely. Thank you for clearing that up. With the bands themselves, I personally have had issues in the past where bands would break. I even had a set of bands that literally disintegrated. I don't know what material they were made of. Is there a specific brand of band that you would suggest for individuals to use if they want to incorporate these type of workouts?
Yeah, I've used all the ones. I've used probably the same brand you did off Amazon that disintegrated on me too. But in the early stages of doing this, I was using Lifeline bands, which are really good for scaling because the handles have 3 holes in them. So you can you can get really heavy with those. And also it's a little bit more portable. As time moved on and Lifeline didn't seem to honor some of the warranty personally for me, I started searching for other bands to recommend. And it's kind of funny because Dynapro reached out to me about reviewing their bands. Mm-hmm. And this is excellent about how you can be a content creator. You just never know where to go. Matt from Dynapro said a really, really cool mission statement. We've seen your videos. We've seen how real you are and honest with what you're doing. We want to partner with you. We'd love to sell the bands on your site. I was like, that's cool. I talked to him. And honestly, this guy didn't know me from anybody. And he was like, because you're, I followed all the videos and way you are. And I've asked around with your reputation in the wrestling world and even in the fitness space. He goes, let's figure it out. Let's figure out a deal of what the bands will cost you. What you can sell them for, matching our prices on Amazon and also on our direct website. And then every month I'll just send you an invoice and you just pay me. So I don't pay for the, like, that's the kind of trust and that's the kind of loyalty that showed me on day one. And it's never lost me. Like I said, blessed and grateful. Somehow this guy and his company came across out of nowhere when I needed it the most to start selling physical products on the site. And he had such a handshake deal with me, which in wrestling, you try to avoid at all costs, but it was the handshake deal of, hey, this is what we'll do. Boom, boom, boom. He sends it to me. I can't pay him fast enough. And I hope he knows by that fast payment every month, hey man, I'm so grateful to be in business with good people like you. That being said, that's just two like-minded people together. Their bands have a lifetime warranty. All you literally have to do is send them a picture and they'll send you the new band.
Wow.
That's it. I mean, you got to have an order, look up your order number. You send them a picture of the broken band. They send you the new band. You keep the old one. What did he's pretty common sense, when it comes to that stuff. Most places RMA it and you ship back the broken band. What am I going to do with this broken band? Yeah. Just keep it. We'll send you a new one. And that's a great customer service philosophy that I really like about them.
No, that's excellent.
It's a long ass answer for that, but I mean, just to give people a background of how you can find really good people. I went from wrestling where it's not known for having too many generous, selfless people. And I met some really generous, selfless people that I still kind of like work with today on podcasting and other things. And in the fitness space, it's also very selfish and not generous. And I've met some very generous, very selfless people like Matt from DynaPro. So people are out there.
Excellent. For the folks watching, definitely look into that. StevieRichardsFitness.com is where you can acquire some of those bands as well. Do you still own the gym membership?
I do not.
How many years would you say that you have given up that aspect of exercising in the gym setting?
Now, I kept, full disclosure, I kept my Planet Fitness membership up until the end of May because I wasn't able to cancel it before that because of the shutdown. I kept it because I was still traveling with wrestling. And I always have even though I work out with the bands early in the morning before flights, when I land, I like to go to the gym, do a little cardio, do a workout before the show just to stay loose because the flight just tightens me up so bad. So I did it. Believe it or not, I have to give it to them because I think you probably remember the days of you cancel your membership. There's a 90-day processing, whatever. You got to write the letter. You got to certify it to central headquarters or whatever. When I wanted to cancel a Planet Fitness, they literally brought it up. They canceled it, emailed me the cancellation, and said you have up until like June 16th. You can use it. And that's it because I think I signed up on the 16th of the month. You could say anything you want about Planet Fitness. A gym is a gym is a gym. They made it pretty easy to cancel, and I have to say that was a good progression on the part of that kind of where you feel like you're locked in. It's almost as dumb as the initiation fees. I don't like, but I haven't been working out in a gym. Probably the last time I worked out outside of my home gym was November 2nd, 2019 in New Orleans. That's the last time I worked out in a gym.
The reason I ask is because currently I'm in New Jersey, so the gyms are still shut down over here. And I know all over the country it's different, but folks are having a very hard time transitioning from their gym workouts to figuring out how they're going to do it at home. Some people have equipment, some don't. I had to transition fully, and I had equipment in my house for at least 10 years that I almost never used. But now, obviously, we had to make that transition. Any ideas or motivation for folks on how could they make that change?
Well, my whole thing was, one of my dreams was to have a gym like the professional athletes or the actors or the people I saw with the huge gym. Like you have that nice walkout space from behind you right now, just a kind of like your own space of working out and everything. So mine was before this shutdown or anything else. So I partnered with, just as a review channel, Force USA sent me a MyRack, which is basically a modular power rack with 20 attachments. I was so fascinated. I'm a big Transformers fan too. So I was so fascinated with there's hundreds of different configurations with this thing.
Wow.
They sent it to me. I reviewed it. They loved it, the review wise, because they were very much where I was at too, trying to just start out and make a name for themselves as a brand. And that's where it started a review collaboration with them, and having an amazing wife, where the gym used to be in this room, by the way. The gym used to be in the second bedroom. Now the whole main apartment area is a strength area, a cardio area, and it's a big, it eats up about 900 square feet of the apartment. And then we got a sauna in the bedroom. We're bursting at the seams, but it's a blessing, like I said. But that was already before all that stuff. So inadvertently, I was proactive, which was a complete accident. But I can understand where you're coming from and people are coming from, where the social aspect of getting out to go to the gym and get away from the kids, or to eliminate the noise, it can be very difficult. I never had that problem, because when I was home, it was my vacation from traveling and working. It was the opposite, because I traveled so much for wrestling. My home is kind of like my solace from everything else. So I'm kind of wired a little differently. What I would say is you're suffering through a shutdown right now.
Yeah.
And people probably knew this, like, oh my God, this is probably going to happen again.
Yep.
That'll hopefully change the mindset that I only have my body weight. I only have these bands. I only have a yoga mat. I'm lucky enough I price gouged on Craigslist, and I got a pair of dumbbells.
Yep.
I think the home gym industry, or the garage home gym industry, is going to be one of the fastest growing industries in the next 3 to 5 years.
Absolutely.
Because people cannot trust that when a flu or some kind of virus hits, that the government and local governments especially are not going to panic and shut everything down.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know you said 30. I know you said you'll only 30 minutes, but my long answers, we can go longer than 30 if you want. I tend to give. I don't really speak well in sound bites. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, the more information, the better, of course. I do want to move on to food, because at the end of the day, one of the saying goes, and I'm probably going to butcher it: you can't exercise your way out of a crappy diet. Is there any quick basic tips as to how you've been eating? I don't know if it has been throughout your career or towards maybe now, any specific concepts that folks could get some take homes on how to incorporate proper eating and diet.
I think the saying is you can't out-train a bad diet. I think that's I'm not sure. I mess it up too. It's hard to say, man. That's the real struggle, because this is why my programs don't come with a diet.
Okay.
Because every body is different. Then you have age, then you have gender, then you have environment, then you have stress levels, cortisol. You have all these different things that, like, if you're a nutritionist, God bless you, because it is. How do you do it? It's crazy.
Absolutely.
I would say this, it's a mindset thing once again. And I'm somebody that has quite a bit of food sensitivity. And as I get older, I'm going to be 49 in October. My body chemistry kind of changes, my metabolism, maybe even my gut biome or anything else. There's a lot of stuff you have to kind of be your own the scientist, and it's your body is the lab. You got to kind of try to figure out what's going on. I would say this, when it comes to working out, and especially with dieting, it's the only two things in your life that you can actually truly get 100% results out of what you put into it. Yep. And right now I bet people are really off their diets and stressed out and, trying to figure out what's going on day to day. But you can also eat very well affordably, meaning healthy. You're talking about egg whites as well, if they're available. I do frozen chicken instead of fresh chicken just because, number one, it lasts longer and it's cheaper. I don't know how much worse it might be. Also, other things like trying to eat tofu. Tofu is a very cheap protein, especially if you're a vegetarian. You can eat a pound. There's like a pound for like $1.44 at Walmart. You can do these things. It's just, it's hard to give any advice except trying to change your mindset once again. And I would say this, if you're training very hard and you're buying, especially now, like you just said with the home gym, if you're investing $1,000 in a bunch of gym equipment or however much money you're spending, if you're eating bad, you're essentially wasting that investment already. You're not getting your money's worth.
Absolutely. I'm in full agreement. I like what you mentioned about every single person is so different. I have done a few years of health coaching in my life, working one-on-one with clients on their diet, and everybody is so profoundly different. I have found that it's easier to provide advice on what not to put in the body because there's so much toxic, crappy food out there that is literally not good for anyone. But then telling people what is ideal for them, I think that is a personal journey, like you mentioned, and that's a lot harder to unravel that road for an individual.
People know it's not hard to guess what the bad foods are. It's not hard. You don't need us to tell you that. And one thing I do hate about the fitness and nutrition industry is people have to think they know everything. So if you're asking me a question, how many other people, not saying I'm so much better, I'm better at admitting that I don't know.
Yeah.
How many other people would give you all this stuff and all these over the head type, terms and everything that'll just confuse people. So hopefully we can get past this question. I won't seem like an idiot. I'll tell you what, when it comes to nutrition and telling people what to do, I am an idiot. I don't claim to be a genius, and I don't claim to ever give anybody diet advice with that.
I do want to, one quick follow-up. I watched one of your YouTube videos, and I do want to mention your YouTube channel as well. And you were introducing a juicer. And I've never seen, and it was, can you talk a little bit about that specific juicer?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I like most about it was $95.
Exactly.
Well, you want to we're trying to introduce more juice into our lives as far as like now people might be like, well, you can just go to the store, buy an orange juice or whatever. And it's not the same thing. It's hard to eat a bunch of greens. It's hard to eat the right fruits, a bunch of those. Juicing just makes it a lot easier to deal with. And trust me, it tastes so much better than going and having 38 grams of processed sugar in an orange juice to legitimately having natural. There's a difference between people hear sugar, they're like, oh, I got to cut out on my sugar. I'm coming around to the fact of obviously there's two different kinds of sugar. You have your naturally occurring sugars and fruits. Now, it doesn't mean eating 40 bananas a day is a good idea or juicing 200 oranges. You're going to probably be in the hospital by the end of the week. But as opposed to what pasteurization and processed sugars, or even if you say, I'm not quite sure what they put in this, stop right there. Like that's a big thing with me right now is like, I have no idea what I've been around a while and I don't know what this is on the bottle or the can. What new element is this? No, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, I bought it. I bought the juicer just to give it a shot because I don't want to spend $400 or $500 on a juicer. And we have fresh orange juice almost every day with, if I have eggs or if I just have a juice, and also the greens, which by the way, don't taste as good as the juice, but you can make cucumber juice. You have, apples are the big thing. Just to give you a little hint, I think I said in the video, we have a Blendtec blender. Yes. When you make juice with, say, putting spinach and apple and some other stuff, which is your basic juice, green juice that everybody makes, the apple comes out so fibrous out of the blender, it doesn't taste good. You're getting the apple juice that if you ever been to a hotel or a cafeteria, you pour that apple juice, it tastes as good, if not better, without any of the, the whatever it's called, the pulp or whatever from that. But I mean, whatever you want to ask me about, I'm like, once again, I'm an idiot when it comes to juicing. So don't tell me anything.
The thing I loved about that juicer, I have an old school juicer. My juicer, I have to, I juice, I have to take it apart, I have to clean out the pulp, and that juicer, you turn that on, and everything, the pulp came out, the juice came out, and there was minimal cleaning, I'm assuming, right?
Oh
Versus,
yeah.
yeah. So that,
Well, here's the thing with that though. It once again, you look on Amazon, and if you're smart, like with the bands, you're looking at the bands like that disintegrated. There's probably 15 different brands it's under, different companies. They're made in the same factory. This juicer looked exactly like a juicer that was $149, which looked exactly like the juicer was $250, which looked exactly like the juicer was $299. And when I didn't hear we know Breville, we know Hamilton Beach, and these were names like mine is Juju or something like that. It's some crazy name that's like, obviously it's from China. There's all these names. So they're all essentially the same exact juicer. And that's why I bought it. I got the old school. We used to juice by doing you know what I mean? Put it in there and then squeeze it down into the shot glass.
Yep.
And we bought that in the antique store. That's what we were using before.
Got you. I will share what I've been juicing. I've actually been juicing celery. I don't know if you've ever tried that by itself. And the only reason I've been doing it, I watched a health documentary about 2-3 months ago. They mentioned celery juice as a possible, medicinal thing you can do for eczema. And I've suffered from eczema for about 10 years. 2 straight months of juicing celery, and it's literally going away. Now, I don't know if this is a treatment or a cure, but again, just mentioning the juicer and the amazing things that can happen if you start incorporating healthy foods within that process, it could be really amazing. So I would recommend the celery.
Yeah. Did you have to cut out your food or do a juice fast or anything?
No, not at all. Just simply incorporating that. What I am cognizant of when it's the first thing I put in my body in the morning, and then I give a little bit of time before I eat anything else. So it's there, it does whatever it's doing, and then it's amazing. It's been working. I'm absolutely fascinated. I've been for eczema topical steroids for years, and I don't have it that bad. I know there's people that suffer from it, and it's getting worse and worse. But for me personally, just to see it clearing out without me having to put anything on it, I'm absolutely astounded. I share that for the audience as well.
That's awesome. You also probably want to look, if you haven't already, my wife is big into creating tinctures. We take a lot of tinctures from herbs and stuff like that. Instead of taking aspirin, she has willow bark that we take tinctures for. Other things, we have a memory one. Since all the concussions, of course, she's thinking of me. Like all the tinctures, like 99% of the tinctures are for me. And she's fairly healthy, but tinctures, herbs, teas, juices, these things that you can get readily, maybe not now, because I think a lot of people who couldn't go to the doctors during the shutdown started to look more at the homeopathic stuff and the natural healing stuff like you're talking about with the celery. Tons of stuff out there that's fascinating. Listen, fitness, we're just going into a gym and grabbing bands or dumbbells or getting on a cardio machine. That stuff is actually the least fascinating out of all the stuff that you can look at and try to figure out. Life is a really cool thing that you can actually never get bored with if you're looking at everything the correct way.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. So just to wrap things up, you've lived a very inspirational life. I read some of your story, and before you became a professional wrestler, and I'm assuming for a lot of individuals going into professional wrestling, family, friends, were probably like, what are you doing? This is not a career path. So you were told no throughout your life, and then you coming up in the business. I've been a fan of wrestling for a long time, so I've seen you come up. I was that guy sitting on a milk crate outside of the bingo hall, waiting in line for 3-4 hours of amazing entertainment every single time. So I do want to appreciate you for that. But considering that process, what you've been through, overcoming so many things in life, and take in what the current situation is for people during COVID, mental health, physical health, whatever they're dealing with. Any final words that could possibly uplift folks at this point?
First, I want to thank you for doing that. It means a lot. It doesn't ever, the gravity of stuff like that, like you said, and the memories that you have of being able to wait outside to, still get your money's worth back then means a lot. It means a lot that we did that. We did it because we loved it. And we did it because the people who kept coming back were loyal and deserve to have a good product put out there. As far as stuff that's going on right now, it's, everybody's going through something. And I know there's a lot of people that are worse off than you or I right now that are just, it's terrible. And I think the number one thing that has to happen in people's minds, and we're talking about mindset once again, is everybody maybe stop thinking about themselves so much and trying to help their fellow man and woman, and especially children during this time would be great. Because if everybody does that, everybody's going to be okay. Because someone's going to want to help you, and it's going to be contagious in a way that's good, rather than having a contagious virus out there. It'd be the one we need. I'm always there to help anybody, not just with the health and fitness side, what you see on the front-facing side of the site, but I built this brand and these programs, and you're talking about the content creation and then the podcasting and being able to monetize affiliate stuff with Force USA and other things. I'm an open book. I'm more than willing to tell people exactly the software I use, the workflow. I have some videos up on the YouTube channel where this is what I do. And I'm more than willing to pass that along. All the people have to do is put in the work and the time and the consistency. And it's not always going to be easy. It's taken me, just to back up and give people a little perspective, I got into the fitness game and on the in-person part of it as I was still on nationwide TV wrestling.
Wow.
And do you know how successful my training business was? Not at all. So I plugged away at it, and I just played to my strengths as somebody that is just a nerdy guy who loves technology and is kind of an introvert.
Yeah.
So that's why this space, the virtual space, works out a little bit better for me. And then it still took a few years. I didn't sell one program my first year with Stevie. No, I did sell one. Somebody felt sorry for me. I think there was a family member. But I kept going at it and kept, doing that. During this time with this shutdown, I hope people are already doing it. But before there's another one, I would really stress people to try to get control of whatever you can in your life, whether it be your health and fitness and hopefully maybe your income stream, using an online business, building your brand, and then you'll become fulfilled. And I think the mental aspect and the emotional aspect will settle down itself off of that financial stuff, off of the health and fitness stuff. And, just to repeat, I mean, I'm here to help anybody. If you or anybody else ever needed help with that stuff, you can always email me directly through the website, like you've contacted me. And that's about it. I mean, when I think about the gravity of what people are going through, and to think that someone's, at home not able to make money because everybody's essentially, quarantined, or businesses are shutting down, or unemployment's backed up, and they have a kid that they need to feed. I mean, dude, I just can't even.
Yeah.
Those are the people we need to think about. We need to think about people that are just suffering right now and helping them, and not whose side you're on and who's right and who's wrong, or who's right and who's left, or who's this or that.
Absolutely.
Need help. They need to be human beings for a change. And I know it's super deep what I'm saying, but we really need to get out of our own way and at least help feed someone's kid and start there.
Absolutely. And I will piggyback off of that. There's tons of research out there that clearly shows the happiest people on this planet were the ones that give the most to their fellow man. So I'm in full agreement with that as well. I want to thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. You going out of your way. And I want to thank you for all the years of entertainment. You developed a lot of memorable characters, and you said you're an introvert. So fascinating in professional wrestling, how you have entertained over the years.
Stevie Richards is an extrovert. Michael Matt is an introvert. See, that just means I'm insane.
Well, no, thank you again for your time. And again, StevieRichardsFitness.com, and any other, and the YouTube channel, any other outlets that people can reach you on?
Yeah, you can always, like I said, most importantly, you can email me, StevieRichardsFitness@gmail.com, if you have any questions about anything or any help, even inside or outside the fitness space. The YouTube channel, you can just search Stevie Richards. I want to thank everybody. We just passed 61,000 subscribers. So that's really, really awesome. Also, if you are wanting to start a home gym, you can email me or go to forestusa.com, enter the code Stevie5, Stevie the number 5 for the strength part. The cardio part, which I do a little too much cardio, diamondbackfitness.com, code is Stevie5, Stevie and the number 5 on that as well. I have beaten the hell out of equipment on both these sites, and they have survived, so that should say something. It's got my seal of approval, my seal of sweat approval, I'll put it that way. But all kidding aside, just, let's all just try to make the world a better place. Let's just all turn this thing around. And they're saying we're all in this together with the virus stuff. We need to all be in this together to try to get out of our own way and start doing the right thing by each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, thank you for your time, and thank you for everybody, to everybody for joining us today for this episode. Take care. Till next time.